I'm getting really tired of writing these medium to long-winded intros that ultimately just culminate in me telling you what the video is, so I'm just gonna tell you what the video is. Today I'm gonna be ranking and explaining every captain in Fire Force, every single one. Before we start, it'd be great if you like the video for the algorithm and subscribe for future Fire Force content, because Season 3 is real, and I'm gonna be making a lot of Fire Force videos. Coming in at the bottom of the list at 9th, yes, 9th, not 8th, we'll get to that later, is the captain of Special Fire Force Company 6, Koko Hang. Hang is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic that has one of the more unique abilities among the cast. Her ignition ability is called Rod of Asclepius. If you don't know what an Asclepian is, don't worry, because neither did I before I started writing this video. It's a Greek symbol commonly associated with healing and medicine, which fits. This ability is used to greatly increase the regenerative abilities of a person by accelerating cell division, causing them to heal faster. When treating a 3rd generation specifically, this ability will use their flames to help them heal even faster than normal. It was this ability that pulled Shinra back from the brink of death after being stabbed by Sho's sword in the nether after just 3 days. As a side effect from treating Shinra, an Adola Burst user, Hwang gained a stigma as she had connected to the world of Adola. Through this stigma, she was able to heal Shinra, who was near death once again, but across dimensions this time, as she was on Earth and he was in Adola. However, touching Adola once again killed her pretty much instantly. If this weren't a list based on strength, Hwang would probably be a bit higher since this is a really strong ability, but she ends up at the bottom because Hwang has pretty much no display of actual strength throughout the entire manga, which is fair considering she's a healer. When we first meet her, she's seen defeating a singular normal infernal, which really isn't that crazy in the grand scheme of things. Coming in at 8th, and I really hate to do this since she's one of my favorite characters, is the captain of Special Fire Force Company 5, Princess Hibana. Hibana is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic with a few distinct abilities. The first is called Heat Syncope. This ability allows Hibana to envelop her target in a wave of heat. This heat causes their blood vessels to expand, lowering the blood pressure and causing less blood to flow to their brain. This ultimately causes vertigo for the target, incapacitating them completely. In some cases, specifically Shinra's, Heat Syncope will also extinguish any active ignition abilities. Hibana's second ability is called Clematis. With this ability, she creates flaming flowers that are surprisingly powerful, seeing that they can cut and burn others with just a touch. This ability ultimately leads to Sakura, which is a massive flaming sakura tree. The petals of this tree are made of fire and can burn skin on contact. With enough petals, she can use Sakura Blizzard. This move surrounds her opponent with hundreds of petals, burning them from every direction, as well as suffocating them. These abilities themselves sound pretty powerful. I mean, she was able to defeat a giant infernal seemingly alone, but Hibana herself isn't trained in combat as she'd rather focus on her scientific advances. She also has some of the worst defensive feats in the series, being knocked out in just one hit by Shinra, and again by a flying animal head at Vulcan's workshop. This unfortunately means she ends up here on the list. In 7th place we have the captain of Special Fire Force Company 4, Soichiro Hagu. Captain Hagu is the first normal human to become a captain of a Fire Force company, and his abilities reflect that. Since he has no powers, he specializes in using weapons like axes or ropes. Physically, he's able to both perceive and react to the speed of someone like Shinra, and even take the attacks, although his defense was being buffed at the time by Lieutenant Pond. There really isn't much to say about Hagu as a whole, since all we really have to go off of is his reputation. Honestly, you could place him below Hibana and you wouldn't hear any complaints from me. In 6th we have the captain of Special Fire Force Company 2, Gustav Honda. I'm going to be completely and totally honest. We don't have much on Honda at all. His ability comes from the top of his head and propels himself at high speeds, which causes him to destroy things with his headbutts, and he can also be shot out of a cannon. The most we've seen from him is destroying a giant infernal and one-shotting a member of the Knights of Purple Haze. This is important because Orochi, the person who destroyed Tamaki and critically injured Juggernaut, was also a member of the Knights of Purple Haze, so beating one in one shot is fairly impressive. Other than that, we have almost nothing on him, but it's better than the people below him, so he's here. Coming up in the 5th spot is the second captain of Special Fire Force Company 4, and the reason there is 9 spots on this list instead of 8, Pan Ko Pat. After Captain Hagu, after that, Pan took over as captain of the 4th. I almost overlooked this fact. Pan is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic whose ability is rather unique. Pan can buff the stats of other people, primarily their defense and even the power of other pyrokinetics. This buffing is what allowed Hagu to take multiple hits from Shinra with multiple damage, and even lessen the damage that Ogun took from Shinra's rapid, although it still hurt. The most powerful application of Pan's buff stacking is when he uses it on himself. In order to fight Captain Hagu's doppelganger, Pan uses Multi-Layer Buff, an ability that quadruples his attack power. This move is extremely stressful on his body, but gives him enough power to manhandle the doppelganger and punch a hole straight through its core. In 4th place is the captain of Special Fire Force Company 8, Akitaru Obi. Obi is the 2nd regular human to become a captain of a Special Fire Force company, and it's fairly easy to see why. Obi works out, like, a lot. To compensate for his lack of powers, Obi wears about 30 kilograms of gear when on the scene. For my fellow Americans, that's about 66 pounds. This gear includes his turncoat, capable of warding off pyrokinetic attacks, and a myriad of gadgets to help him in combat, such as extinguisher grenades. He's also adept at using weapons such as axes or the pile bunker in order to pierce Infernal's cores. His physical capabilities are near superhuman, allowing him to achieve ridiculous feats such as ripping train tracks right out of the ground and even taking hits from the likes of Benimaru. He can even flex so hard that his muscles become extremely tough, preventing multiple Adola bugs from piercing his skin and turning him into an Infernal. On top of this, Obi is surprisingly adept at fighting pyrokinetics. He's shown to be capable of defeating a member of the Knights of Purple Haze in one hit. He also might be the only non-pyrokinetic able to utilize the benefits of hysterical strength. It's unclear if Benimaru was being literal when he calls Obi the embodiment of hysterical strength, but it definitely makes sense. Fittingly, in 3rd place is the captain of Special Fire Force Company 3, Dr. Giovani. Giovani is a mixed bag. He has a lot of really good abilities, but he's never actually won any of his fights, as he usually retreats before they can finish. Giovani is a 2nd generation pyrokinetic. He uses the abilities to control the various gadgets such as mechanical hands that are hidden underneath his coat. However, his real power stems from his intelligence. Giovani is one of the smartest, most insane, and disgusting characters in Fire Force. Giovani fuses his body with insects to increase his physical capabilities and gains incredibly enhanced senses. He can even read pheromones to predict his opponent's attacks before they can even make them. However, this ability is quickly countered by Shinra and Arthur, the former moving so fast that Giovani can't react despite being able to predict his actions, and the latter not thinking at all, so there are no pheromones to pick up in the first place. But that's Shinra and Arthur. I don't think this would work for anybody else in the series besides the top tiers. Giovani also seemingly replaces his entire body with countless insects, making him almost immune to any real damage. He can even grow pincers capable of severely injuring people. The most broken ability to come from this body modification, in my opinion, is the ability to transfer his consciousness to other people using bugs. If not for Arthur, Giovani would be effectively immortal with this ability. In the 2nd spot is the captain of Special Fire Force Company 1, Leonard Burns. Burns is a 3rd generation pyrokinetic whose ability, Voltage Nova, is fairly simple. Pure, unadulterated destruction. Voltage Nova works sort of like a furnace. Burns stokes his internal flame, increasing his power and durability greatly. The neat thing about Voltage Nova is that it only gets stronger over time, and is separated into stages. Luckily for me, none of the stages do anything besides adding on another massive thermal energy and power, so I don't have to explain all of them. Voltage Nova allowed Burns to go head to head with Shinra, which is no small feat considering how strong Shinra was at this time. At this point in the series, Shinra was not only extremely efficient at using rapid, but had also gained control over hysterical strength, the corna, and was capable of flying near light speed without grace. There's really not much else to say, he's just powerful. At number 1 is the captain of Special Fire Force Company 7, Shinman Benimaru. Who could have seen it coming? Everyone? Everyone saw it coming? Okay. I've talked about Benimaru 3 or 4 times on the channel, and I'm gonna do it again because he's just that damn cool. Benimaru is the only character in the series to wield both 2nd and 3rd generation pyrokinetic abilities, making him the ultimate hybrid fire soldier. He can light his own fires and control them with an extreme amount of precision, and even cancel out others' entire ignition abilities thanks to the 4-meter barrier provided to him by his 2nd generation powers. He's also a master combatant, being proficient in hand-to-hand combat, as well as having the ability to feel the breath of life, which allows him to sense the attacks of his opponents. On top of all that, he can also utilize hysterical strength at will, which is just a free buff to his already insane stats. Thanks to the display shown by his doppelganger, a being that was supposed to be the personification of the strongest, we know Benimaru is capable of using attacks on an actual planetary scale. I mean, look at it, it's wrapped around the planet. The funny thing is, Benimaru one-shot his doppelganger, the personification of the strongest. We don't even know what the limit to his power is. He has never gone all out in a fight. He's introduced as the strongest and pretty much stays the strongest until he gets eclipsed by the literal gods. Due to the Cataclysm buff, he's also one of the reality warpers in the series. He quite literally changed the moon. You know the moon that the big fight at the end of Soul Eater is on? Yeah, Benimaru did that. That's his moon. He's insane in every category. That's it for this one.
Lately I'm feeling so cool. Yeah. Come and get a taste of the hip soul food. Spice up the animal when you haiku. While soul goes to school, way slash kung fu.